After going to Japan last year and doing the famous Golden Route, there are a few things that I wish I had known beforehand that would have really helped with the planning stage and whilst actually being in Japan. And with cherry blossom season coming up, the most popular time to go to Japan, I thought I would go over 12 things that you might find useful before your trip. From luggage storage to tourist spots, there's quite a bit to cover, so let's get started. We'll start with an obvious one, because everyone knows Japan is big, right? But if you were to just go off Google Maps, you might be fooled, because it looks really tiny. But it's not. It's 2,500 kilometers from Cape Soya to Cape Sota, the most northern tip of Japan to the most southern tip. And that doesn't even include Okinawa, which is way down here. Even Tokyo is 25 kilometers across. So, why is that important? Because if you're from somewhere like the UK, you might only get 2 weeks holiday away from work, which means you need to be very conscientious of your time when in Japan. You can't really afford to have a day off for travel if you want to see and do as much as possible. So one thing I wish I'd done before I went is researching how long it takes to get from point A to point B. For example, there might be a specific restaurant you want to go to in Tokyo, but you don't realize until an hour before you want to eat that it's going to take you 90 minutes to get there. And that could really mess up with the rest of your evening plan. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I know I fell victim to that quite a few times, and it's just something I wish I'd spent a bit more time doing beforehand. And of course, that goes with most major cities, not just Tokyo. Another example is traveling from Fuji Yoshida, or any sort of area around Mount Fuji, to Kyoto. When I was staying in that area and I was meant to go to Kyoto, I had to get a bus back to Tokyo and then the bullet train over to Kyoto. And all in all, it took about 5 hours. But if you were to just go off the map, you would think that it would actually be quicker to get from the Fuji area over to Kyoto. Luckily, the public transport in Japan is great. I just didn't do my research before going. And therefore, I probably wasted some time as well as missed out on a few opportunities. So just plan your time well. Japan is a bit bigger than it looks, and make sure you're not under the impression that you can just walk across Tokyo. That might take you a while. If you're like me, your Instagram and TikTok feed is just flooded with videos of Japan. But amongst all of the scenic views and restaurant reviews, that rhymed, some videos filled me with dread. There seems to be a trend of making travel in Japan way scarier than it actually is. And there's a few things I wish I hadn't fell for. And one of the big ones that actually worried me is that you cannot eat whilst walking in Tokyo. You will be locked up, have the key thrown away, your firstborn sacrificed to the Shinto gods.
Do not walk and eat.
You can only eat outside of the store, cannot eat and walk at the same time.
It took me about 5 minutes of walking outside at lunchtime to realize that's a load of crap. I did ask my Japanese tutor about this, and she just said people don't eat in like really busy areas, which makes sense. And that's it. There's no law. People won't stone you to death if you have a Haribo whilst strolling through a park. All it comes down to is common sense. Hopefully some of you have that. Don't tromp around eating a big sloppy burrito when you could accidentally trip or just bump into a poor salaryman and then ruin his jacket for the day. What it comes down to is just using common sense and being a good member of society in general, which you should be doing wherever you are, especially when you're visiting a foreign country. This isn't exclusive to Japan. If I was in London and someone bumped into me and got gravy all over me, I'm not going to be very happy. It's just that the Japanese people tend to be more conscientious of others, I guess. And that's what all the unspoken rules in Japan come down to, I think. Just being a good person and making sure you're not inconveniencing anyone else around you. And another thing I did notice, if there are areas where, you can't eat or drink or whatever, there will be signs. And they will be in English. Because we're the idiots who would eat an ice cream in a habitat of monkeys or whatever. There's been so many rules like this popping up on my TikTok, but also a lot of actual Japanese people debunking them. Especially this guy. Hopefully I'll remember his name, otherwise I'm just pointing at nothing. Let me know what rules you have come across about Japan. I'm kind of intrigued. Talking of TikTok, now we have the other side of the coin. TikTok is amazing for travel. Be it recommending restaurants or scenic spots or fun things to do. It's always nice to visually see people doing it on TikTok and not having to trust review sites that might be paid off or biased or whatever. Like, you have millions of people doing this thing and you can sort of get an understanding of if it's for you. Sadly, this has resulted in one major downside, which I'm sure you're all aware of. Over-tourism. When there's a million videos posted of the peaceful Kyoto streets and social media usage and TikTok usage and travel in general is the highest it's ever been in human history, yeah, those streets aren't going to stay quiet and peaceful for long. This has led to a new trend where people post hidden gems to visit instead of the iconic tourist places. For example, recommending alternatives to Arashiyama Bamboo Forest or alternatives to Shibuya Sky or Fushimi Inari and stuff like that. And firstly, well, they're not hidden gems anymore because you just posted it to a million people. But also, there's a reason why these hotspots blew up in the first place instead of the alternative that you're recommending. They're really bloody nice. And basically, before I went on my trip to Japan, I was really conscious of the overcrowding and stuff like that because so many people had warned against it. And I was contemplating going to the alternatives instead. But luckily, I didn't. So my advice to you would be, don't buy into the fear-mongering. Go to the popular places, go to the touristy places, don't feel bad about it. It's really different seeing something with your own eyes and experiencing it over just watching it on TikTok. Obviously, over-tourism isn't great, and you're sort of adding to it by going to the really popular places, but they are worth going to, especially if you're only going to Japan once. You know, you might as well see the famous things. Take off your bucket list, you know? Oh, what's that? You don't like crowds? And you're going in cherry blossom season? Yeah, okay, maybe don't bother then. This one is very personal to me. When you land in Tokyo and come face to face with Don Quixote, it is extremely tempting to jump in and spend like you've just won the lottery. So tempting, in fact, that I did this on my second day. And what's the problem with that, you may ask? Well, my suitcase was already full, and now I had a bag full of Lego and chopsticks and fridge magnets and books, and I couldn't fit any of it in. To make matters worse, my bag ripped on the train. It was not an enjoyable experience, okay? So here's my advice to you. Hold off shopping until the end of the trip. Now I'm saying that out loud, that's really common sense, isn't it? But if I can just stop one person from making the same mistake that I did, I'll be a happy man. Luckily, there was a solution to my problem: luggage storage. You may have heard of the famous luggage delivery services in Japan. Unfortunately, I didn't try this, so I can't speak too much on it, but a lot of people swear by it and I imagine it's worth every penny. My friend actually did use it, and he said he was allowed to leave his luggage at the delivery service for up to a week and schedule the delivery. So you get a week's worth of storage and then it gets delivered to your hotel. So yeah, really convenient. And for as little as 5,000 yen per piece of luggage, if it works for your itinerary, go for it. For me, however, I was bopping about quite a lot, so I didn't really need the delivery service. And luckily for me, I found an app called Bounce. And I think various companies can sign up to Bounce. And basically, you could just take your luggage to this company, they'll take it for you and just hold on to it until you want to take it back. It was really cheap as well. I couldn't find the receipt, so I don't know how much it was. And it allowed me to keep my luggage in Tokyo whilst I just went round with my backpack to all the other places I was going to. And I do wish I had known this before going to Japan, because I was very stressed about this extra bag of stuff that I had acquired and did not have room for. There's probably other apps as well. I'm not sponsored. I wish I was. Hit me up if you want Bounce. I have 2 subscribers. 1, not including my mum. Healthiest country on the planet. No one's fat in Japan. These Westerners have terrible diets compared to the Japanese. Okay, Japan is one of the healthiest places in the world, but that is not because their food is. It's because they are. I wanted to try as much food as possible when I went to Japan, obviously, and I do that with every country I go to. But I was fooled into a false sense of security with Japan after seeing how healthy everyone says it is. I thought if I ate enough Japanese food, I would be ready for the next Olympic Games. It turns out the only thing it got me ready for was a bit of sumo wrestling. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Japanese food isn't magical. If you eat enough of it, you're gonna put on some weight. Ramen broth is so bad for you, but it's so nice, my light. You might be thinking, how is this meant to be helpful to me? But to be fair, the title of the video is 12 things I wish I knew before going to Japan. And I wish I knew that I cannot be trusted with Japanese food. I will eat too much, put on too much weight despite doing 20,000 steps a day, and I will need to hit the treadmill when I get home, which I haven't done yet. I do want to make a proper video on the Japanese diet when I'm back in Japan. So if you want to see that, get subscribed. I'm not a massive fan of planning holidays. I don't mind the planning process, it's quite fun, but I don't like sticking to the plan when I'm there. If I want to relax in a park for a bit, I want to do that without throwing the rest of the day out of whack. But some things in Japan, you have no choice but to be proactive about in booking, particularly the viral spots. One example is Shibuya Sky. Tickets for the sunset slot literally sold out within 2 hours of going live. I had to set an alarm on my phone 3 weeks beforehand. I think it was midnight Tokyo time. And even then, I was very close to not getting tickets. Was it worth it? Yes, it was really worth it. It was so beautiful up there. And it really gives you a grasp of how big Tokyo is. It's an endless concrete jungle. Some things though, I didn't book, like the Robot Cafe, for example. I still had a week left of my trip when I decided I wanted to give it a go. But by then it was too late. It was booked up for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So basically what I'm trying to say is do your research about all the different places you want to go and visit and eat at, and just make sure you don't have to book in advance or book on the day. You know, just make sure you know what you're doing. Otherwise you're gonna waste time going back and forward or miss out on stuff. Oh yeah, especially around cherry blossom, because everything is super booked up around that time. Just a quick public service announcement really, you cannot smoke on the streets of Tokyo, and some of the other prefectures too. The rules vary prefecture to prefecture. I feel like I needed to add this to the list because it did surprise me, especially because you can smoke indoors in some of the bars and stuff. It's been like that for a few years, but I only just found out about it when I was in Japan. If you do want to smoke in the street, you have to go to a designated smoking spot. And when I walked past one of these, I don't even think you need to bring your own cigarettes because they're so packed full of people. You could just stand there and inhale the secondhand smoke and you'd be good to go. I do really like the concept though. I wish we had it in the UK. You don't see any cigarette butts on the floor or anything. It's nice. I don't smoke, so it wasn't really an issue for me. I'm unhealthy enough eating all that ramen broth without having to knock the old lungs up as well. So, Japan is one of the cleanest countries that I've ever been to, which doesn't make sense because they have no bins. No public ones anyway in the streets, especially in Tokyo. There are some bins, don't get me wrong, but I didn't find any. So, what do people in Japan do? Well, they take their trash with them. They put it in their backpack or their pockets or whatever, and they dispose of it when they get home. I did already know this before I went to Japan. But there was something I didn't quite factor in. What if my trash consists of a liquid or a really messy food? Yeah, iced coffee suddenly became a big problem. I didn't really want to put liquids and stuff in my rucksack or my pockets because they're just gonna get dirty. So I had to buy some plastic bags and then, you know, tie up the plastic bag, put it in my backpack, and it worked out okay. But yeah, maybe buy some before you go, just to carry around with you. Even like dog poo bags, I imagine would work just fine. I don't know if this already exists, but someone needs to make like a backpack with a designated waterproof, easy clean sort of trash compartment. I think that would sell really well. Everyone says how confusing the Tokyo metro system is, and I was really dreading Shinjuku and Shibuya, but I am from the UK countryside and I did not find it confusing at all. Maybe this is a US thing because they don't have many train stations, but there was signage everywhere. It was so easy to find where to go. But in preparation for the chaos of the metro system, I found an app called Navitime. And although I probably could have gotten by without it, I am so glad I got this app. It's basically the best English app I could find for, you know, checking platforms and train times, which exit and entrance to take out of the stations. It basically saves you the time of having to look and read at all the signs. You can just know where to go straight off the rip. Especially because some of the train stations are massive. And when I was trying to just use my own brain, I did slip up once, and I ended up walking for like half an hour through this train station. I ended up in a completely different area of Tokyo. I don't even know how I did it, okay? But there were some cool shops and restaurants I went past, so it was kind of worth it. So yeah, I highly recommend downloading Navitime. Again, not sponsored. I wish I was. Understandably, this one is a strange one. But one of the biggest things I wish I knew before going to Japan was how good their cheesecakes are. Because trust me, I would have bought way more cheesecakes if I had known. So, if you're one of the 2 people watching this video, I have just let you in on one of the biggest secrets in Japan. The cheesecakes are literally to die for. They are so nice. Don't make a big fuss about it though, because this hasn't blown up on TikTok or anything like that. So just between me and you, go to 7-Eleven and buy their cheesecakes. Or maybe it was Family Mart. You know what, I was just about to Google where they are, but I think that would sort of ruin it. So just go to either 7-Eleven, Lawson, or Family Mart, and they have little cheesecakes about that big. So nice. I'm not gonna tell you which one though, because yeah, maybe that would make it too easy. It's a treasure worth exploring for, okay? And finally, the actual biggest thing that I wish I knew before going to Japan was that it was okay to take my time. You might be a lot more chill than me, right? But I was very stressed about making sure everything went well on this holiday and doing as much as possible and seeing as much as possible, right? But a few days in, I burnt out, and this is when I realized it's so much more enjoyable to take your time. You don't have to do everything in a minute-by-minute itinerary. You don't have to eat at every themed restaurant in Tokyo. You're allowed to take your time. Have a stroll in parks, walk down the river, people watch at a bar. If you really want to embrace Japan and its culture, one of the biggest aspects of that is being present in the moment, especially when it comes to Shintoism. So yeah, take your time, don't panic, don't rush. Just enjoy your holiday that you've spent a lot of money on. And I'm sure you want to forge good memories and not just be stressed the entire time and be looking forward to going home so you can relax. You know, it's not how you do a holiday. Yet again, each to their own. Maybe that's exactly how you do a holiday, in which case all power to you. I'm just too lazy. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back in Japan soon for a lot longer. I'm gonna make some cool videos. I don't really like making these sort of videos because I wanna be in Japan, but I'm just waiting for some stuff and then I'll be out there for at least a year. Get subscribed, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.